before Prime Minister Pushpakumar Dahal wraps up his 4-day official visit to India, various speculations have already been made in terms of the success and the failure of the visit. The government has taunted the 7 bilateral agreements signed yesterday as big achievements, while the experts have claimed that the visit has been far from what was dubbed earlier, since there has been conspicuous silence on the contentious issues, including EPZ report, border disputes and air route permits, among others. Good evening, I'm Prarambha Dahal. Let's begin with the main stories. Prime Minister Dahal welcomed in Indore, the commercial capital of Madhya Pradesh. Premier Dahal visits religious shrines and also inspects the waste management plant. 3 officials of CTEVT go missing as their 4-wheeler plunges into river Sunkosi in Sinduli. Driver of the jeep escapes the mishap and is undergoing treatment in Kurkot. The US Senate passes bipartisan legislation backed by President Joe Biden that lifts the government's $31.4 trillion debt ceiling. And South Korea march into the quarterfinals of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, edge past Ecuador 3-2. Uruguay also advanced into the last 8. Prime Minister Pushpakumar Dahal, who is in his 4-day state visit of India, has reached Indore of Madhya Pradesh today. He was welcomed with a cultural program in Indore, the commercial capital of Madhya Pradesh. Prime Minister Dahal also visited some religious destinations in Indore, while he also took stock of the waste management plant of the city. Prime Minister Dahal has met with Madhya Pradesh Governor Mangubai Patel, while Chief Minister of the state Shivraj Singh Chauhan is hosting a dinner in honor of Prime Minister Dahal. Before leaving for Indore, Prime Minister Dahal spoke with journalists in Delhi this morning and said that the situation had eased after holding 3 separate one-to-one talks with his Indian counterpart Narendra Modi. He added that the bilateral agreements and understandings were reached following the initiative of Indian Prime Minister. Prime Minister Dahal will wrap up his 4-day India visit tomorrow. Three persons have gone missing after a vehicle of the Council for Technical Education and Vocational Training (CTEVT) plunged into the Sunkosi River in Sinduli. The 4-wheeler with the registration number BA1Z7467 met with the unfortunate accident at Lokun of Golanjor Rural Municipality, Ward number 7 in Sinduli under the Medhili Highway. The vehicle was carrying CTEVT directors Krishna Kesi, Yamprasad Vurtel, Technical Officer Bhanu Podel and driver Krishna Chaudhary. According to CTEVT, the officials were heading towards Khotang district from Kathmandu to take stock of the technical institutions. According to Sinduli SP Rajkumar Silwal, driver of the vehicle Krishna Chaudhary was able to save his life after jumping out of the vehicle and is undergoing treatment at the Kurkot hospital. A team of police personnel has been deployed for the search and rescue of the others traveling in the ill-fated vehicle. The Minister for Health and Population, Mohan Bahadur Bosneth, has expressed the commitment of implementing the legal provision which requires the hospitals to allocate 10% of beds for free of cost to those under the poverty line and belonging to the underprivileged communities. Taking stock of the Shahid Gangalal Hospital and Medicare Hospital in Kathmandu, Minister Bosneth said that the government would initiate maximum possible efforts to ensure the poor and deprived communities' access to health services. Minister Bosneth also directed the hospitals to furnish the details of services provided to the underprivileged communities in the period of 1 year. The Ministry of Health and Population has intensified the monitoring of hospitals after the government hospitals were accused of providing poor services, while the private hospitals were alleged of charging exorbitant fees from the patients. The ministry has also made preparations for operation of a separate help desk to record information about the services provided by the hospitals. The ministry has also directed the hospitals to provide information about the availability of beds through online mechanism. CPN UML has held its Secretariat meeting at the party office in Chassel to give a final shape to its annual work plans. According to UML sources, the Secretariat meeting is also to assign tasks to its central members. CPN-UML has formulated its plans with the objectives of concluding conventions of committees of all tiers by the mid of April 2024. UML Promotions Department's Deputy Chief Bisnu Rizal has said that the party is also formulating the plans with the objective of expanding its mission grassroots from the 16th of June to strengthen and deploy its organization structures. The meeting is to assign responsibilities to the previous district in charges and their deputies in the locations other than they have worked before. A group of youth affiliated to Rashtriya Prajatantra Party has protested in front of the Indian Embassy against installation of a mural at the new Parliament building in New Delhi, which includes the so-called ancient India, which consists of Nepali territory. The group has protested against inclusion of the Nepali territory in the mural installed at the new building of the Parliament of India, which was inaugurated by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi earlier this week. Participants of the protest have said that they will continue their agitation until India removes the Nepali territory from the mural. The price of gold, which had begun increasing after the budget announcement, has hit a new record. The price of gold has increased drastically after the customs rate for gold was increased from 10% to 15% by the budget. Price of fine gold increased by 3,900 rupees on Wednesday and had stood at 112,000 rupees per tola, a Nepali standard weight measurement equivalent to just over 10 grams. The price had increased by 500 rupees yesterday. While continuing with the trend, the price of gold increased by 800 rupees today and is being traded at 113,300 rupees per tola. With this, the price of gold has increased by 5,000 rupees in a single week in Nepal. Meanwhile, the price of hallmark gold was set at 112,750 rupees per tola in the Nepali market today. The price of silver increased by 25 rupees per tola and has reached 1,435 rupees. Now, Kathmandu Metropolis has directed all vehicles plying outside the Kathmandu Valley to operate only from the new bus park of Gongobu from the 16th of June. Issuing a notice today, the Kathmandu Metropolis has directed all long, medium and short route vehicles to operate from the new bus park. The KMC has also directed to remove all ticket counters outside of the new bus park from the 16th of June. The Metropolis has said that the transport system has remained ill-managed because of ticketing, parking and carrying and dropping passengers at unauthorized locations. It is now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Poll.
The question is, why has the government policy of distributing free medicines not been effective? Your options are A. Unscientific distribution, B. Government indifference, and C. Inadequate budget. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. It is now time for the international news. The U.S. Senate today passed bipartisan legislation backed by President Joe Biden that lifts the government's $31.4 trillion debt ceiling, averting what would have been a first-ever default. The Senate voted 63 to 36 to approve the bill that was passed on Wednesday by the House of Representatives as lawmakers raced against the clock following months of partisan bickering between Democrats and Republicans. The Treasury Department had warned it would be unable to pay all its bills on the 5th of June if Congress failed to act by then. Before the vote, senators tore through nearly a dozen amendments, rejecting all of them before the final vote, sending the bill to Biden for signing into law before Monday or June 5, the deadline. With this legislation, the statutory limit on federal borrowing will be suspended until the 1st of January 2025. Now, thousands of protesters took to the streets on Immokalee, Florida, to voice their opposition to a controversial immigration bill passed by Governor Ron DeSantis. The Senate bill, titled SB 1718, aims to introduce stringent measures aimed at curbing immigration and strengthening human trafficking and unlawful status. Parts of the proposed law include rules that any employer with over 25 employees will have to use an e-verify system for documentation, and hospitals will have to report the immigration status of a patient. Immokalee, a vibrant immigrant population and agricultural heritage, served as a symbolic backdrop for the protest, as immigrants have long been an integral part of the town's history, contributing significantly to its economic growth and Florida's farming sector. The bill was signed by DeSantis on the 10th of May and is due to come into effect on the 1st of July. Ukraine has lifted air raid alerts after shooting down more than 36 missiles and drones fired by Russia overnight. Meanwhile, a number of Russian officials reported attacks on the regions Friday as the war spills over from Ukraine's borders into Russian territory. The governors of the Kursk and Smolensk regions said that they were attacked by Ukrainian drones, while Russian officials reported shelling in Bryansk and Belgorod. Ukraine's military claims more than 200,000 Russian soldiers have been killed in the war, more troops than were estimated to have taken part in Russia's initial invasion. Meanwhile, American news agency CNN could not independently verify the figures. The United States says it will stop providing Russia some notifications required under the new START arms control treaty. The criminal trial of a prominent Russian physicist accused of state treason opened in St. Petersburg amid tight secrecy and concerns over the health of the elderly defendant. Anatoly Maslov, who is 76 years, is one of 3 hypersonic missile scientists who worked at an institute in the Siberian city of Novosibirsk and who are now facing what the Kremlin has said are very serious accusations. The case, marked as top secret, is closed to the media and public, the St. Petersburg court has said. Maslov's lawyer could not be reached for a comment on Thursday's hearing. A source close to Maslov told Reuters that the scientist had suffered 2 heart attacks and spent time in hospital since his arrest last June in Novosibirsk. Maslov was a professor and researcher at the Kristianovich Institute of Theoretical and Applied Mechanics, one of Russia's top scientific centers. Soon afterwards, Maslov was sent to Lefortovo prison in Moscow, a former KGB interrogation site, before being transferred to St. Petersburg to stand trial. Doctors in the pre-trial detention center have not given Maslov access to all the medication prescribed by his normal physician, the sources said. Meanwhile, Reuters could not independently verify the accusation regarding the denial of medication. All 3 defendants are specialists in hypersonics, a field of key importance to the development of Russia's next generation of missiles capable of flying at 10 times the speed of sound. The cast and crew of the upcoming Apple TV Plus thriller of the series, The Crowded Room, hit the New York red carpet ahead of the show's first release on the 9th of June.
Sports news.
Indian Army have progressed to the final of the National Men's Volleyball Championship underway in Hitoda. In the first semi-final match played at the Huprachor Volleyball Court in Hitoda 4 this morning, Army secured a 4-set victory against Nepal Police Club to secure their berth in the tournament final. The second semi-final sees Armed Police Force play Gandaki Province Volleyball Club. Winners of the second semi-final will play Army in the tournament final slated for tomorrow. That is all for the moment. Our next English bulletin airs at 10:30 p.m. Thank you for staying with us. Goodbye for now.